She had been saying yes for so long she forgot what no felt like in her mouth. It started small like it always does, a mother asking where you are going, who you are with, when you will be back. Simple questions at first asked with love, or what passed for love anyway, but slowly the questions became expectations, and the expectations became rules, and the rules became walls she did not even see being built, until one day she turned around and found herself living inside a cage made of worry and good intentions. Every morning began the same way, her phone lighting up before she even opened her eyes, a message already waiting. Did you sleep well? What are your plans today? Remember to eat something healthy. She would type back a quick yes or okay or I will, trying to quiet the voice before it could grow louder, but the voice was not so easily quieted. By the time she stepped into the shower, another message would arrive. Why didn't you tell me you were thinking of changing jobs? That place sounds unstable. Or I saw your friend posted pictures last night. Why were you out so late on a weeknight? She never asked these things in anger, at least not at first. It was always wrapped in the soft cloth of concern. I just want what's best for you. I only worry because I love you. And for years she believed it. She told herself, this is what family does, this is what mothers do. They care, they watch, they guide. But caring does not feel like being watched every minute of every day. Caring does not mean your choices are treated like mistakes before they even happen. Caring does not leave you feeling smaller each time you try to grow. She was 28 years old and still could not buy a new coat without sending a picture first, still could not make weekend plans without running them by someone else, still could not speak her mind without first imagining how her words would be received and corrected and rewritten by the person who claimed to know her better than she knew herself. The worst part was how she had learned to do it to herself. She would catch herself halfway through reaching for the red sweater, thinking no, she would not like that color, better choose the blue one. She would stop herself from laughing too loud in public, remembering the quiet voice saying people will stare. She would bite back opinions in conversations, because what was the point of having a thought if it would only be met with a sigh and a but have you considered this? Instead she had become a guest in her own life, watching herself move through days shaped by someone else's fears, someone else's standards, someone else's idea of who she should be. Her apartment was neat, too neat, the way someone else would keep it, not the comfortable mess of a person truly living there. Books arranged by color, not by what she had loved most. Coffee mugs all matching, no chipped favorite with a story behind it. Even the plants were the safe, easy kind her mother had suggested. Nothing wild, nothing reaching, nothing alive in a way that might surprise you. She looked in the mirror one morning and did not recognize the woman staring back. The eyes were hers, but the posture was not. The quiet shoulders, the hesitant smile, the way she held herself like she was waiting for permission to take up space. This was not how she had been born. She remembered being a child, loud and messy and sure of herself, climbing trees without asking if it was safe, drawing on walls because the world was a canvas, and why not? She had been taught to fold herself smaller over the years, piece by piece, until she fit neatly into the space someone else had decided was enough for her. That morning something shifted. It was not dramatic, there was no lightning, no sudden realization. It was quieter than that, a slow dawning like light coming through a window she had forgotten was there. She looked at her reflection, and for the first time in years she asked herself a simple question: whose life is this? The answer should have been easy. But it was not. Her phone buzzed on the counter, another message already waiting. She did not pick it up right away, she just watched it light up, the screen going dark, then lighting up again, persistent, demanding her attention like always. But this time she did not move toward it. She stood still and felt something unfamiliar rising in her chest, not anger, not yet, but something deeper, something older, the quiet hum of a self she had buried long ago. She thought about the job offer she had turned down last month, the one that would have meant moving to another city. Her mother had cried, not big dramatic tears, but the quiet kind that are harder to resist. How will I manage without you, she had said, and so she had said no. She thought about the friend she had stopped seeing because her mother did not approve of her lifestyle choices. She thought about the haircut she had wanted for a year but never gotten because it would be too much, too bold, too much like the person she used to be before she learned to be small. All these small nos, they added up to a life that was not hers. The phone buzzed again. She walked to the counter and looked at the screen. Why didn't you answer my call last night? I was worried sick. She read the words and felt nothing, no guilt, no panic, no need to explain herself, not in that moment anyway. The feeling would come later, she knew it would. Guilt was a habit hard to break, but in that one clear second she saw the truth. Her mother was not worried, she was uncomfortable. She did not like not knowing where her daughter was, what she was doing, who she was becoming without supervision. There is a difference between worry and control. She had spent years pretending not to see it. She picked up the phone and typed 3 words. I am fine. She did not add sorry I didn't answer. I did not add I was just sleeping. I did not add anything to soften the statement or make it easier to receive. She sent it and put the phone face down on the counter. The simple act felt like rebellion. The day unfolded differently after that. She wore the red sweater, the one she had been told was too bright for her skin tone. She made coffee exactly how she liked it, not how someone else said was best for her stomach. She walked to work without texting her location first, and when a co-worker invited her for drinks after work she said yes without checking her phone first, without running it by anyone. Each small act felt dangerous. Each small act felt like coming home. That evening she sat on her couch and looked around the too neat apartment and realized she did not want to live there anymore, not like this. She did not want to live a life built on permissions. She did not want to grow old wondering what might have been if she had only dared to choose for herself just once, just one time, to see what would happen. She thought about all the women who had lived small before her, mothers and daughters, passing down the habit of folding themselves to fit someone else's idea of enough. She thought about the cost of always saying yes, the slow erosion of self, the quiet death of dreams that were never even spoken aloud because they knew they would not be welcomed. She was tired. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes, but the deep bone tired of a soul that has been holding its breath for years, waiting for someone to say it is okay to be who you are. Her phone buzzed again. She did not look at it. She sat there in the quiet of her apartment, and for the first time in a long time she listened, not to the voice in her phone, not to the voice in her head that sounded like someone else, but to her own voice, the one she had not heard in years, the one that knew what it wanted, the one that remembered how to say no. The snap would come later. It always does. It comes after 1,000 small moments of quiet rebellion, after the heart has gathered enough strength to break the chains it has worn so long. It does not look like anger at first, it looks like clarity. It looks like a woman finally seeing herself clearly for the first time and deciding she is worth more than this. But that night she just sat in the quiet and breathed. And for the first time in years her breath was her own part too. The breaking point. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Nothing special about the light coming through the window, nothing unusual about the smell of coffee in the air. It was just another day until it was not. She was eating breakfast, toast with avocado, the way she liked it, simple, quiet, a moment just for herself. Her phone sat on the table face up. She had not checked it yet. She was learning to let the messages wait a few more minutes each day, building small walls around her peace. Then the phone buzzed once, twice, 3 times in quick succession, the sound sharp in the quiet room. She looked at the screen without picking it up. 3 messages already waiting back to back, no space between them, no room to breathe. Why are you eating that again? It's so fattening. People will judge you for posting food pictures online. You should really wear something more professional today. That shirt looks sloppy. She read the words slowly, each one landing like a stone in her stomach. This was not the first time, this would not be the last time, but something in her had changed since that morning. Looking in the mirror, something had shifted deep down where she could not name it yet, but she could feel it, a quiet strength growing roots in places that had been empty for years. She did not reply right away. She finished her toast, she drank her coffee, she washed the plate and set it in the rack. Her movements were calm, measured, but inside something was gathering like storm clouds before lightning. Her phone buzzed again, a call. This time she let it ring 7 times before answering. She did not say hello, she just held the phone to her ear and waited. Why didn't you answer my texts? The voice came through, sharp with worry that was not worry, it was irritation dressed up as care. I was eating breakfast, she said, her voice quiet but steady. You could have texted back while you ate. It's not that hard to let me know you're alive. I am alive, she said, and for the first time she let the words hang there without softening them, without adding sorry or I know or you worry too much. Silence on the other end, then a sigh, the kind of sigh that said you are disappointing me again, without ever saying the words. Fine, but seriously, that avocado toast is not good for you, and posting pictures of it online makes you look shallow. People form opinions based on these things. You need to think about your image. Her hand tightened around the phone. It was not about toast. It never had been. It was about who got to decide what she ate, what she wore, what she posted, what she thought, what she felt. It was about a lifetime of small corrections adding up to one large truth: she was not trusted to live her own life. I like avocado toast, she said. That doesn't mean it's good for you. My friend Jane's daughter never eats like that, and look how put together she is. I am not Jane's daughter, she said, the words coming out clearer than she expected. What is that supposed to mean? It means I am me, she said, and I get to decide what I eat. Another sigh, heavier this time. You know, I only say these things because I love you, because I want what's best for you. Do you? She asked, the question hanging in the air between them, not angry, not yet, just curious, honest. What kind of question is that? Of course I do. Then why does love feel like a cage? She asked. Don't be dramatic, it's not a cage, it's guidance. You still have choices. Do I? She asked. Really think about it. When was the last time I made a choice you actually supported without changing it, improving it, fixing it? You're being unfair right now. Am I? She said, or am I just seeing clearly for the first time? Silence again, longer this time. She could hear breathing on the other end, fast, irritated breathing. She could almost see the face on the other side, lips pressed tight, arms crossed, the posture of someone who was not used to being questioned. You need to watch your tone with me after everything I've done for you. That's the problem, she said, the words rising up from somewhere deep she did not know she had inside her. Everything you've done has not been for me, it has been for you, your comfort, your image, your need to feel needed. You call it love, but it feels like control. How dare you? No, she said, how dare you live inside my head rent-free, deciding what I should wear, who I should see, how I should act. How dare you make me feel small every single day and call it love? How dare you make me ask permission to breathe and act like you're the victim when I finally say no? Her voice was rising now, not shouting, not yet, but strong, clear, each word finding its place in the air between them. I am not a project, she said. I am not your second chance. I am not your reflection. I am a person, and I am tired of living my life through your eyes. You ungrateful child, after all the sacrifices I made. What sacrifices? She asked. The ones you remind me of every time I try to grow, the ones that come with strings attached, the ones that were never really sacrifices at all, just investments you expected returns on. Silence. She could feel it coming, the snap, not loud, not dramatic, but deep, like a tree branch bending too far in the wind, the quiet crack before it falls. I need you to stop, she said, her voice dropping low, quiet but firm. I need you to stop controlling me. I need you to stop living my life for me. I need you to let me be me, even if I make mistakes, even if I choose wrong sometimes, especially then, because those choices are mine to make. You'll regret this when you fail without my guidance. Maybe, she said, but they will be my failures, my lessons, my life. You're making a mistake. No, she said, you made the mistake thinking love means control, thinking care means correction. You taught me to fold myself smaller every year to fit the space you left for me, but that space was never big enough for who I really am. What are you saying? I'm saying no, she said simply. I'm saying no to the texts, I'm saying no to the calls, I'm saying no to living my life for your approval, I'm saying no to you. You can't just cut me off. I'm your mother. You are, she said, but you are not my warden, and you are not my voice, and you are not the keeper of my choices. I love you, but I cannot love you this way anymore, not if it costs me myself. You'll come crawling back when you realize how much you need me. Maybe, she said, but I would rather be alone learning who I am than surrounded by love that requires me to disappear. She ended the call. The silence in the room was immediate and heavy. Her hands were shaking, not from fear but from the release of something held too long, too tight. She stood there, breathing in and out, feeling the weight of years lifting from her shoulders one layer at a time. She walked to her bedroom and pulled a suitcase from the closet, not a big one, just enough for a few days to start. She did not pack carefully, she packed quickly: jeans, shirts, underwear, toothbrush, the things a person needs to survive the first few days of freedom. She did not take much. She left behind the matching mugs, the color-coded books, the safe plants, the neatness that was not hers. She left behind the cage she had helped build piece by piece over years of yes when she meant no. Her mother called again. As she zipped the suitcase, she let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. The phone buzzed on the bed, each vibration a demand, each ring a chain trying to pull her back. She picked up the phone, looked at the screen one last time, then powered it off. The screen went dark, silent. She picked up her suitcase and walked to the door. She did not look back. She stepped outside into the morning light. The air felt different, fresher, lighter, like she was breathing for the first time without someone watching, measuring, judging. She walked down the stairs, out the building, onto the street. People moved around her, cars passed, life continued, but for her everything had changed. She had said no. She had walked away. The guilt would come later, she knew it would. It always does when you break a habit of pleasing others, but in that moment there was only clarity, only the quiet certainty that she had finally chosen herself. She walked to the bus stop, suitcase in hand, not knowing where she would sleep that night, not knowing what came next, only knowing she could not go back to who she had been before this morning. The bus arrived, she stepped on, paid her fare, found a seat by the window. As the bus pulled away from the curb, she looked out the window at the streets she had walked 1,000 times under the weight of someone else's expectations. Now she was moving forward. Alone. Free. The snap had come, not with a scream but with a choice, not with violence but with truth, not with hate but with the hard love of finally choosing herself. And for the first time in her life she felt whole. Part 3. The first steps into silence. The bus ride lasted 3 hours. She did not sleep, she did not read, she just watched the world pass by, buildings turning to suburbs, turning to open land. The farther she traveled, the lighter she felt, as if each mile put real distance between her and the voice that had lived in her head for so long. She got off in a city she had visited once years ago with a friend. They had laughed in coffee shops and walked along the river without checking phones, without reporting their location, without wondering what someone else would think of their choices. She remembered feeling free that weekend, and now she understood why she had felt that way here. No one knew her, no one expected anything from her. She could be whoever she needed to be, just for a little while. She found a small motel near the bus station, paid for 2 nights in cash. The room was plain, a bed, a desk, a window that looked out on a parking lot, but it was hers. No one had approved it, no one had suggested a better option, no one had warned her about the neighborhood. She had chosen it, and that simple act felt like a revolution. That first night she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, waiting for the phone to buzz. It did not. She had left her old phone powered off in a drawer back home. This new cheap phone had no contacts, no history, no chains. She had not given the number to anyone, not even her mother, not even her closest friends. She needed the silence first. She needed to hear her own thoughts without the noise of other people's expectations. Sleep did not come easily. Her body had learned to wake at the sound of a notification. Her mind had learned to run through a checklist before rest. Did she reply to every message? Did she explain where she was? Did she soften her words enough to avoid conflict? She had spent years training herself to be available, and now that availability had nowhere to go. It circled inside her, restless and confused. But exhaustion won eventually. And when she woke the next morning, no phone buzzed, no voice demanded her attention. She opened her eyes to quiet, real quiet, the kind that lets you hear your own breath, the kind that lets you think your own thoughts without interruption. She lay there for a long time, just breathing, just being, no performance, no explanation, no apology needed. She got up and made a choice. Not a big dramatic choice, just a simple one. She decided to eat breakfast at a diner down the street. She put on the red sweater she had almost not packed. She did not check a mirror to see if it looked right. She did not wonder what anyone would think. She just put it on because it made her feel warm and bold and alive. The diner was nearly empty. An older man behind the counter nodded as she walked in. She sat in a booth by the window and ordered pancakes without looking at the calories, without wondering if it was the right choice, without imagining someone's disapproving face across the table from her. She ate slowly, savoring each bite, the syrup, the butter, the simple pleasure of food chosen without fear. This was freedom, she realized, not the grand gestures, not the dramatic speeches, but these small quiet moments of choosing for herself without permission. The first week passed in a blur of small rebellions. She bought a plant, not the safe easy kind, but a wild sprawling thing with leaves that reached in every direction. She placed it on the windowsill where it caught the morning light. She bought mismatched mugs from a thrift store, each one with its own story, a chip here, a faded flower there. She drank coffee from a different one each morning just because she could. She walked without destination, following streets that looked interesting, turning when she felt like turning, stopping when something caught her eye, a bookstore, a park, a bakery with bread cooling on racks in the window. She did not post pictures online. She did not document her freedom for anyone else to see. This was not for show, this was for her alone. But the guilt came as she knew it would. It arrived on day 4 in the middle of the night, a cold weight on her chest. She sat up, breathing fast, heart pounding. "You are being cruel," she heard the voice in her head, not her mother's voice but her own voice, shaped by years of being told that saying no was selfish, that boundaries were walls, that love meant always being available. She lay back down, tears hot on her cheeks, wondering if she had made a terrible mistake. She thought about her mother alone in that too neat apartment, wondering where her daughter was, if she was safe, if she was eating enough. The image hurt, but then another thought rose through the pain. Her mother had raised her to feel this guilt, had taught her that her own needs were secondary, that her peace was less important than someone else's comfort. That was not love, that was training. She got up and walked to the window, looked out at the dark street lights casting soft circles on the pavement. She whispered to the night, "I am not responsible for her peace, I am responsible for mine." The words felt foreign, dangerous, true. Day 10 she found a job, not the career she had trained for, but something simple. A bookstore needed help shelving books and running the register. She walked in, asked if they were hiring. The owner, a woman with kind eyes and silver hair in a messy bun, said, "We are." "And when do you start?" She did not ask for references. She did not ask why she left her last job. She just saw a person who needed work and offered it. That simple act of trust felt like a gift. The work was quiet, peaceful. She spent hours among books, running her fingers along spines, choosing where each one belonged. She liked the order, the logic of alphabet and genres. She liked the customers who came in searching for something specific or just wandering, hoping to be surprised. She liked that no one asked her personal questions, no one expected her to perform happiness or gratitude. She could just be present, and that was enough. 3 weeks in, she rented a small apartment above a laundromat, 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen, a fire escape that led to a view of the city lights at night. It was not much, but it was hers. The first night she sat on the floor surrounded by boxes. She had not brought much from her old life, just clothes, a few books, the wild plant that was already growing new leaves. She sat there in the empty space and cried, not sad tears, not happy tears, just released tears, the kind that come when a heart finally feels safe enough to let go. She thought about all the women who had stayed, who had folded themselves smaller year after year until they disappeared into the roles of daughter, wife, mother, caretaker, who had lost themselves in the service of others, who had mistaken sacrifice for love. She did not judge them. She understood the weight of expectation, the fear of disappointing someone you love, the terror of being alone, but she also understood this staying had not saved them, it had cost them everything. She would not stay. Not like that. Not ever again. 2 months passed, seasons shifted, leaves turned gold, then brown, then fell away, revealing the bare, honest bones of trees. Winter came, cold, sharp, beautiful. She learned to dress for it, layers, scarves, hats. She bought a coat no one approved, no one suggested a different color. She chose deep green because it reminded her of forests and growth and life pushing through hard ground. She made a friend slowly, carefully, a woman who worked at the coffee shop near her apartment. They started with smiles, then hellos, then conversations about books and weather and the strange joy of living alone. They did not become best friends overnight. They did not share every secret. They just shared space, sometimes sitting together in comfortable silence, reading their own books, sipping their own drinks. 2 people choosing to be near each other without need, without demand, without expectation. That was the lesson she was learning slowly, carefully, like a plant growing toward light. Love does not mean losing yourself. Love does not mean constant availability. Love does not mean silence in the face of disrespect. Real love has room for boundaries, for separate lives lived side by side, not on top of each other. She still had moments of doubt. Nights when the apartment felt too quiet, mornings when she reached for a phone that was not there, days when a song came on the radio that reminded her of home and the ache was physical, real. She did not fight these feelings, she let them come, she let them sit with her. She learned that feelings are not facts, that missing someone does not mean you made a mistake, that guilt is a habit, not a guide. She started writing in a notebook, not for anyone to read, just for herself, pages and pages of thoughts, memories, dreams, the person she had been, the person she was becoming, the person she might one day be. She wrote about fear and freedom, about love and loss, about the slow, careful work of building a self after years of letting it crumble. She wrote, I am learning to trust my own voice again. She wrote, I am learning that my needs matter. She wrote, I am learning that peace is not selfish. She wrote, I am learning to be alone without being lonely. She wrote, I am learning. And in that learning she found something she had not expected, not happiness, not exactly, but something deeper, quieter, more lasting. She found herself, not the self someone else had shaped for her, but the self that had been waiting all along beneath the layers of should and must and please. Just be quiet, just be good, just be easy. The self that liked avocado toast and red sweaters and wild plants and quiet mornings and books with dog-eared pages. The self that deserved to take up space. The self that was finally coming home. Part 4. The year that built her back together. Time does not heal all wounds, but it does give you space to learn how to carry them differently. The first 3 months were about survival, getting through each day without reaching for a phone that was no longer there, learning to sleep through the night without waiting for a buzz, learning to eat meals without wondering if someone would approve of her choices. She moved through her days like someone learning to walk again, each step uncertain but determined. She kept the bookstore job longer than she expected to. She liked the rhythm of it, opening the shop, arranging displays, helping customers find stories that might change their lives. She liked that books did not demand anything from her, they simply waited patiently on shelves, ready when she was ready. She started reading again, not the self-help books about boundaries and healing, though she read some of those too, but novels, poetry, books about faraway places, stories of women who left and women who stayed and women who were still deciding. She saw herself in all of them. Spring came, melting the snow, revealing patches of stubborn green pushing through cracked pavement. She bought seeds from a corner store, planted them in pots on her fire escape, tomatoes, basil, marigolds, things that grew toward the light. She liked watching them stretch, reaching for sun. She liked that they did not ask for permission to grow, they just did what they were made to do. She turned 29 that spring, no one remembered but her. She bought herself a cake from the grocery store, a small one with vanilla frosting. She ate it sitting on her fire escape, watching the city breathe below her. She did not feel sad about being alone, she felt proud. She had made it through a year of firsts without the person who had always been there for every birthday, every holiday, every milestone, and she had not broken. She had bent, yes, there were days she bent low under the weight of missing, but she did not break. Summer brought heat and long days. She took walks in the evening when the air cooled enough to breathe easily. She discovered a park with an old fountain where children threw pennies and made wishes. She sat on a bench and watched them, their faces serious with hope. She wondered what they wished for. She wondered if they knew how precious that certainty was, the belief that if you close your eyes tight enough and throw a coin far enough, the universe might listen. She started saying yes to small invitations. Coffee with the woman from the cafe who asked if she wanted to see an art exhibit downtown. A book club that met in a library basement where people argued passionately about characters as if they were real. A weekend trip to the coast with 2 co-workers who did not pry when she said she was not close with her family. They just accepted it and talked about other things, the ocean, the food, the strange joy of being somewhere new. These were not deep friendships not yet, but they were something real, connections built slowly without expectation, without the weight of history, without the need to explain why she flinched sometimes when a phone rang or why she hesitated before making plans. These people knew only who she was now, not who she had been, and that was a gift she did not know how to repay, so she just showed up, present, honest, careful with their trust as they were with hers. 6 months in, she dreamed about her mother for the first time since leaving. Not a nightmare, not a fantasy, just an ordinary dream. They were folding laundry together in a house that was not quite her mother's house, not quite her apartment, just a space that existed somewhere between memory and imagination. They did not speak, they just folded shirts and towels and placed them in neat stacks. When she woke, she did not feel sad, she felt curious. The dream had not been painful, it had just been quiet, peaceful. Even she realized then that she was not dreaming about her mother because she missed the person her mother had been, but because she missed the idea of her, the mother she had needed, the mother she had hoped for, the mother who might one day learn to love without conditions. That realization did not hurt, it freed her. She understood she was not waiting for her mother to change, she was not waiting at all, she was building a life that did not require rescue or permission or approval. She was becoming someone who could stand alone, not because she wanted to but because she had learned she could. Autumn returned, the air crisp with the smell of burning leaves. She bought a new coat, the same deep green as the one she had bought the winter before, but this one was softer, better made. She had saved for it, she had chosen it, slowly trying it on 3 times before deciding it was right. No rush, no second guessing, no voice in her head saying, "Is that really you?" She knew it was her because she had chosen it. She started a garden on her fire escape, not just herbs now but flowers, cosmos zinnias, sunflowers, small ones that turned their faces to follow the sun each day. She liked watching them, she liked that they did not care if anyone approved of their colors or their height or their wild messy way of growing, they just grew. 9 months passed. She realized one morning that she had not thought about her mother for 3 full days, not with guilt, not with anger, not with longing, just nothing. The space where that constant hum of worry had lived was quiet now, not empty but peaceful, like a room that had been too crowded for too long, finally cleared out and aired. She did not celebrate this realization, she did not mark it as victory, she simply noticed it and continued making her coffee the way she liked it, strong with a little milk. She sat at her small table by the window and watched the city wake up below her. She felt something then, not happiness, not sadness, but contentment, the quiet knowledge that she was exactly where she needed to be, doing exactly what she needed to do for herself. 10 months in, she received a letter. Not a text, not a call, a real letter on paper with a return address. She recognized, her hands shook as she held it. She did not open it right away. She placed it on her kitchen table and made breakfast. She ate slowly, she washed the dishes, she watered her plants, she let the sun move across the floor until afternoon shadows stretched long and blue. Then she sat at the table and opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, 2 sentences written in handwriting she had not seen in almost a year. I hope you are well. I think about you every day. No demands, no accusations, no guilt, no I miss you so much, you have no idea what you have done to me. Just 2 simple sentences that felt both heavy and light. She read them 3 times, then folded the paper carefully and placed it in a drawer. She did not reply, she was not ready, not yet, but she did not throw it away either. She let it exist in the world between them, a bridge not yet crossed but no longer burned. 11 months. She stood in front of a mirror one evening getting ready for a dinner with friends. She caught her own eyes in the reflection and held the gaze longer than usual. She saw the woman looking back at her, shoulders straight, not hunched in apology, smile soft but certain, not waiting for permission to exist. She saw the years of folding slowly unfolding, the layers of herself returning, not all at once, not perfectly but steadily, like a plant after winter pushing green through hard ground. She realized she was no longer the person who had walked away. That woman had been raw, wounded, angry, desperate for air. The woman in the mirror was different. She was not healed, not completely, but she was whole. She carried her scars without shame. She carried her memories without being ruled by them. She carried her hope without apology. 12 months passed. She marked the day quietly, not with ceremony but with awareness. She walked to the river that evening, the same river she had visited with a friend years ago. The water moved the same way, steady, constant, changing every second, yet always itself. She stood on the bridge and watched it flow beneath her. She thought about time, about healing, about the slow, patient work of becoming. She did not hate her mother anymore. She did not love her the way she once had either. She held a space for her in her heart, not as a wound, not as a burden, but as a fact. This was her mother, this was what their love had been, this was what it was now. She did not know if it would ever be different, she did not know if she wanted it to be. What she knew was that she was no longer waiting for anything from anyone. She had built a life that stood on its own 2 feet, a life that did not collapse without approval, a life that breathed without permission. She turned from the river and walked home. The city lights glittered around her, 1,000 tiny stars on earth. She walked with her hands in her pockets, her steps sure, her breath easy. She was not the same person who had left a year ago, trembling with fear and guilt and the desperate need to be free. She was someone new, someone stronger, someone softer, someone who had learned the hardest lesson of all: you cannot love others well until you learn to love yourself first. And she was learning. One day at a time. One breath at a time. One quiet moment of choosing herself over and over again until it was no longer a choice but a way of being. The year had not fixed everything. But it had given her something better than fixing. It had given her foundation, ground to stand on when the next storm came, and she knew storms would come. She was not naive anymore. She knew life did not stop being hard just because you learned to be strong, but now she knew she could weather the hard things without disappearing, without folding, without losing herself again. She reached her apartment building, climbed the stairs to her door, unlocked it, stepped inside. Her plants waited on the windowsill, reaching for the last light of day. Her books waited on shelves, arranged not by color but by what she loved most. Her life waited, not perfect, not finished, but hers. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.